internal complaints. Oh, sorry. Um, Reviewing internal complaints from either supervisors that are complaining on their subordinates, or the subordinates that are complaining or filing complaints regarding their supervisors or leadership, kind of seeing where they're currently existing in that and what the police department is working to address those internal complaints. And then it really falls into the national climate. I know that we don't have that in the bulletin, but one thing that we talked about was the relationship between the national climate and how it's impacting our city and how it's impacting our residents viewing the police department as well. Again, I do apologize. When LaJewel joins the meeting, I would love for her to explain these topics a little bit more to all of you, but I am available to answer any questions you may have regarding the subcommittees.
Thank you, Ishmael. Again, these are all proposed topics. I think our intention is to present some suggestions to have to start the conversation. These are what we identified as what the leadership team identified as the topics that to start this conversation about what should be the subcommittees. One thing before we open it up for discussion, and I see your hand, Kevin, we also are proposing an approach by maybe taking on 3 topics first. And then once we address those topics, we go and follow on to the 3 after that. So just for those who are interested in participating in multiple subcommittees, it's not too many that at one time. With that, I do want to open it up for reactions, thoughts, what's missing, what do you like from the list of 6, and we can have a conversation. Kevin, I do see your hand up, and then Denise.
Hi, I just wanted to make a quick statement. Is this live right now? I know that you just started recording. I don't see it live on YouTube, and I had a couple people requested to me, asking me where it was.
I do believe it should be live, but if you're not seeing it, we will make sure that it is live. Thank you for pointing that out. We thought it was live. Do you have any other comments or questions?
I would just like to save it when LaJewel's here, hopefully give it a little bit more time to ask her and the leadership in general, team in general, in questions, but I do have some comments, but for later.
Okay, thank you. Denise and then Marcus.
Just real quick, something that I don't know if the leadership team and you all knew is that there has been a report done in a study that looked at the city of Elgin and policing around racial disparities. So I think that it'll behoove our group to get that information if it is available, if that's come back. But I think that that report has been a long time coming. So I just wanted to point that out, that work, at least the start of it, has occurred.
Yeah, Denise, we have been made aware of that report, and that's why we incorporated that into the racial disparities. So that would fall into that subcommittee if we decide to move forward with it. But thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, thank you.
Marcus?
You guys said 6 topics. I see 3. Is there a way you can fix this screen where I can see the other 3?
Yes. Cameron, do you want to stop sharing, and then just we can add all 6 in one slide?
Okay, I see it now.
Yeah, we'll just quickly make it that they're all in one slide so you can all see them. I'm curious on if
I still have comments to make as well.
Yep.
Just to reiterate it for you, Marcus, I'm sorry. The 6 are racial profiling and disparities, recruitment and hiring and retention, training, accountability and discipline, police culture and political climate, or climate generally, I apologize, and police presence. They're not in that order, but those are the ones.
I saw something on there with saying force and the collateral damage. Yeah, the practice of force and collateral damage to the Black community. Now, I happen to know that that particular thing was not worded that way. What the topic was forced engagements in the collateral damage within the Black community. So I have a problem. It seems that this task force is a sham. First, we waste our time talking about the structure of governing ourselves, and then only for the city to come back and tell us, well, this is how you have to govern yourself. Then we picked a government body that doesn't get to govern because, again, told how to govern and what to talk about, how to talk about it, and how to create the narrative. The city is looking to push a narrative without addressing any of the tough issues. We are up against a policing system that 99% of the time does its job and does it well. Then we have that 1% that goes out into the low-income minority community, mostly Black communities, and force engagements with petty unnecessary laws and ordinances that are mostly only enforced in our communities under the guise of public safety. Then society highlights the 99% great work being done, only to whitewash the devastation that the 1% is inflicting on our Black community. Then we have, on the other hand, 99% of Black folks in our communities who are hardworking, family-oriented people, just trying to grab hold of this so-called American dream. Then we have 1% of our community who engage in foolishness and community destructive behavior. Then mainstream society highlights that 1% to justify the law enforcement's 1% and paint them as proactive heroes, constantly sheltering them and protecting those individuals from being held accountable as if they are the institution when they're individuals. The two are not one and the same. This has gone on for generations. I mean, we tired. Enough is enough. Either we are here to make some impactful changes by balancing the power of accountability and shed light on the 1% abuse of power, or this is just another dog and pony show for the city to push the narrative and continue to highlight the great work being done by our 99%.
Marcus, what would you recommend?
By sitting us through a clever maze, only to end up in the same place with the same people and the same institutions, making the exact same final decisions and telling us how we're supposed to spend our tax dollars.
No, thank you, Marcus. We really appreciate that. I mean, what would you recommend? What do you see from this list that is missing?
Why is the practice of forced engagements reworded to talk about the force? Right, forced engagements and force is two different things, right?
Well,
this is the root of the problem, and the root is forced engagements. Nobody in the Black community cares when the police come and they do their job. We're happy to see them. The problem is when they start stalking and hunting in our neighborhoods. Have you ever got in your car and drove a block or two before you pull your seatbelt on? Imagine if somebody was sitting there with a magnifying glass as soon as you got a block away and pulled you over and say, hey, you don't got your seatbelt on, then drug you out of your car, want to search your car for drugs and all this other kind of stuff. This is the type of forced engagements that I'm talking about, or standing around watching and waiting to see if you jaywalk or did you spit on the ground. These are the practices that law enforcement do that need to be addressed.
I mean, we will add the word engagement, and I think that was what this was being proposed here is we didn't mean to reword it in any way. So we can add, if you think that's what needs to be added under training to something as a topic.
This is the first time. Last time we were talking, don't take my word. I say exactly what I mean. I don't need anybody to interpret my words and then reword them to mean something different. This is the second time now that this has happened. It's like we don't want to deal with the root of the problem. We want to keep dealing with the surface problems. If we get to the root, then there is no surface problems. And if those in office don't have the courage to fight for what we need and want to continue to accept what those in power are willing to give, then they need to get out of the way and let people who are willing to fight the fight and get what we need, not what they want to give.
We
Sarah,
hear
Sarah,
you.
can I ask a question real quick? As a point of clarification,
Sure.
what's the, Marcus, when you're talking about this, how does that fit within the practice of entrapment as well? In terms of racial and other profiling disparities?
Practice of entrapment is not the same as a forced engagement.
Okay,
So entrapment is they're creating an investigation and they're targeting people who are probably already got some things going on. A forced engagement is like, say that law enforcement went into the white neighborhoods and shook down every middle school and high school kid on their way to school because they fit the profile of the next kid that's going to shoot up the school. And then they say, we're doing this because it's public safety. This might be the kid, the next kid with the gun that shoots up the school. So those are forced engagements. When they see the kid walking down the street, they pull up on the kid, they start harassing, they start poking at him. They see the kid cross the street outside of the walkway, and then they jump on him. Those are forced engagements. And generally a forced engagement ends up with some sort of resistant arrest charge because the person does not know what they did wrong. And all they know is that law enforcement is coming at them in some kind of way. For some minor infraction, like spitting on the ground, that they have no idea.
Sarah, if I may speak, that'd be great.
Yes, I think you are next, your hand, and then Joshua, and then Kevin.
So my apologies that I wasn't on video earlier. I did want to address what's been going on because I feel like here we go, gearing and walking towards a path in which the direction was not meant to go. And I think that I understand everyone's passion and dedication to the work that we are doing. I think that what we are doing is very, very important, and these topics are all very important. So I know that LaJewel, myself, and Walter, we reached out to certain members of the task force. We wanted to hear everyone's feedback. We encourage you guys to continue to reach out to us, and so we can, voice your opinions and your concerns at our leadership team meeting. So I do want to address that we did put in a lot of work to sit and talk and discuss what we heard and what we ourselves believe are certain topics that we should discuss and bring it to you all. Nothing was ever meant to undermine anyone else or to rephrase them or to subject them to a different narrative. It was really just us bringing this to the table and trying to come up with more general subcommittees that can be inclusive to certain topics. So Marcus, I hear you when you say it's important to talk about entrapment, but also talk about the forced engagements. And that's also kind of like a point in which I said, let's talk about why these people are in the low-income communities. Is it because they truly benefit from that, or is it because they assume that Black and brown folks in a certain neighborhood are more prone to violence? But every research that you'll check is that over-policing obviously equates to over-reporting. And so these are all topics that you can dissect into more and more as we go into this. I know that, and I only speak for myself, the leadership team is not here to be another pony show for city council or for the city or for anything. We come in moving forward with our own respective thoughts and mindsets. And I respect Councilwoman Powell and I can respect Councilman Shaw, but we do not speak for them and we do not advocate for their messages because they have their platform to do that as well. So I don't even really think they need us. But just to reiterate, I don't want to take away from everyone's time, and I encourage everyone else to share their viewpoints, whether you agree or disagree with these subcommittees. But I do just want to reiterate that the work that we are doing is very, very important, and we need to identify that it is. If we do not feel like it is, then maybe this is not the role in which you should be serving our community. And that's just in my own respective opinion. And, I just wish that everybody takes this opportunity to really move forward and learn about how we can better our community, because it's an ongoing process, not just this task force. And with that, I get off my soapbox. I apologize. And then thank you everyone for sharing your thoughts.
Well, again, I'll say, don't change my words, all right? And as far as serving the community along these lines, I don't know how long you've been involved in and what you know about what goes on in the city. All right. So you're coming from a baby's perspective, and the city council said that they put this group together on purpose, right? You got people who have been dealing with this stuff for some 15, 20, 30, 40 years. And then you have people who just started yesterday. So it's like you got a 40-year-old man having a conversation with an infant trying to tell you how and what's going to work and what's great and all these ideas and all of this stuff that's going on in other cities. We don't need to go to other cities. I can give you a layout right here in our own city. And I challenge them, you can lay out all of the arrests and I'll show you exactly where your forced engagements are at. You remove forced engagements and you remove the problem within the Black community, period. And a lot of this stuff needs to be said. It's about the Black community. We are the ones who are taking the brunt of all of this. Our society wants to go ahead and if it's for everybody, well, then we're okay with it. But if it's for Black folks, we got a problem with it. We need to be specific here.
Noted, and we are taking very detailed notes, Marcus, and we will add that as like a proposed topic.
And again, he's talking about what direction we're supposed to be going, right? Which tells me that you have some preconceived narrative of where we're going to take this and where it's supposed to end and what we're supposed to get out of here to make the city look like they did some wonderful job.
That is not our intention. This is, again, these are all
I'm just looking
proposed.
at the evidence in front of me, right? Whatever you say the intention, I'm just looking at what's going on in front of me. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, and then again, I just really want to reiterate this is all proposed. We can start from zero and make another list, or we can say what if these are the 6 that we want to move forward with, and add more detailed for under each one if that's what we need to do. We understand that we need to really outline that it's forced engagement, and we will make note of that.
So I want to clarify something, and that is, we are all adults. I do not have to repeat that every single meeting that we have. So the name calling, the belittling, and the trying to play these mind games is so above everyone else's time. So let's stop wasting our time to try and play these games, because I don't care how long you've been here. I'm sorry, we all live here. We all live here,
Step
Marcus.
down from your position.
No, Marcus, like I said, we all live here.
This
We all
isn't
live here.
leadership.
This is all of our city.
So
This is
Okay.
all of our city. So I'm just gonna say that.
Stomp out of the room because they don't get their way.
So Marcus, I let you speak, so I would really appreciate it if I had the respect of that as well. What the task force doesn't realize is